and fuel aid to enter Gaza. This will be the biggest diplomatic breakthrough and the first major pause in fighting since the war began. A doctor from Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital has said that more patients requiring dialysis will likely die. This is because of a lack of equipment or medication needed for treatment. He added that medical staff at the hospital were being arrested for hours at a time. This is to interrogate them over what they knew about military groups in the region. Most hospitals in the north of Gaza have ceased functioning normally. However, many are still housing patients and displaced Gazans. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization is planning to evacuate 3 Gaza hospitals. A WHO spokesperson said that evacuation plans are being chalked out following requests from the medical staff at the facilities. The hospitals include the Al-Shifa Hospital, Al-Ali, and Indonesian Hospital. Meanwhile, a UN spokesperson has warned of the risk of a mass disease outbreak in the region, causing child death rates to mount. New drone footage shows the scale of destruction in Gaza's Nuseirat refugee camp following Israeli airstrikes. Bombardment struck the densely packed camp on Monday and Tuesday. Dozens of people have been killed and several others are suspected trapped under the rubble. Lebanon-based Hezbollah has claimed to attack Israeli positions in the border. It released a video claiming to show strikes on Israeli military posts. Fighting between Israel and Hezbollah has escalated on the border ever since the war broke out. The two sides have constantly exchanged fire. Yesterday, Israel released a video claiming to have struck Hezbollah's headquarters in Lebanon. In Australia, hundreds of pro-Palestinian demonstrators clashed with police forces at the Sydney waterfront. Around 400 protesters waved flags and banged drums calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. They blocked the traffic near a loading dock during the 3-hour protest. The police have arrested 23 people, calling the demonstration unauthorized. In other political news, North Korea has successfully placed its first spy satellite in orbit. This is according to its space agency and local media. The National Aerospace Technology Administration said that Maliong-1 satellite entered orbit after launch yesterday. The state media has also released still photographs of leader Kim Jong watching the satellite launch. A spy satellite is a coveted prize for the North Korean leader. It will allow him to monitor incoming attacks and plot his attacks more accurately. Following the launch, South Korea has moved to suspend part of the Inter-Korean Pact. South Korean Prime Minister Han Duck-soo hosted a cabinet meeting to announce the suspension. The Inter-Korean Pact is a military agreement sole signed with Pyongyang in 2018. The pact, known as the Comprehensive Military Agreement aimed at de-escalating tensions in the Korean Peninsula. Meanwhile, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has condemned Pyongyang's rocket launch. He has said that the launch was a violation of UN Security Council resolutions. The missile launch triggered a J alert in the offices of Ishigaki City Hall in Japan's southernmost Okinawa prefecture. Residents were asked to take cover inside buildings or underground. The United States military has kicked off 2 weeks of multilateral exercises with the Philippines. The exercises off the Philippine coast will include drills on anti-submarine, surface and air warfare as well as land phases. This comes amid rising tensions between Manila and Beijing over territorial disputes in the South China Sea. Russia carried overnight missile attacks and shelling in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk and Kharkiv regions yesterday. This is according to Ukrainian officials. 3 people were killed and 8 were wounded in overnight attacks. Emergency and rescue workers continued search operations for more victims that could be buried under the rubble. Mexican authorities said they found 215 migrants, including minors, locked in a trailer in southern Mexico. They were huddled together in the back of a tractor trailer. The group included undocumented people from Central American countries of El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala. 26 of them were minors. In climate news, European Union lawmakers have urged the COP28 climate summit to phase out fossil fuels. EU lawmakers want the summit to put pressure on countries to tackle their CO2 emissions through gas and oil. The EU suggests a halt to all new investments in fossil fuel extraction. The climate summit COP28 is scheduled to take place in Dubai from November 30th. In addition to this, G20 leaders have also urged the COP28 summit to address the impact of climate change on women. The leaders of G20 nations met in India's capital, New Delhi, in September to discuss the increased participation of women for climate change. Women working on fields have been facing the physical brunt of erratic weather patterns, becoming more susceptible to severe health issues. The G20 suggested encouraging women to lead on developing a climate policy. According to a latest report, 200 private jet owners and celebrities have spent a total of 11 years in the air from 2022. The report by Oxfam International is based on publicly available data for the past 21 months. The carbon footprint of over 44,000 journeys on 300 jets have resulted in an emission of over 400,000 tons of carbon dioxide. The celebrities on the list include Elon Musk, the Rolling Stones band, the Murdoch family, and Kylie Jenner. The Meteorological Department of China has renewed a yellow alert for rainstorms. This is as heavy downpours are expected to lash parts of the country in the next few days. The temperatures are expected to drop by 6 to 10 degrees Celsius in some regions. Authorities have advised people to take precautions. Farmers living in central Greece's Sesklo village have been hit repeatedly by extreme climate change. From floods to wildfire, the farmers in the region have seen it all. Their shops burned in the wildfire, while water supply systems were uprooted in the flood. Over 16 people were reported dead in the storms this year, which also destroyed crops. Storms and floods have become more frequent in recent years, making Greece a climate change hotspot. Firefighters in Bolivia continue to tackle the wildfire that has spread across acres of land. 30 firefighters from Venezuela arrived yesterday to help in the firefighting efforts. On the other hand, French President Emmanuel Macron announced that Paris will send 100 firefighters to help. According to reports, over 127,000 fire outbreaks were detected in Bolivia so far this month. The death toll due to devastating floods in the African country of Somalia has risen to 50. The local disaster management agency said over 700,000 people have been displaced from their homes as a result of flash floods. Heavy downpour has destroyed bridges and inundated residential areas. The United Nations said that the number of displaced people has doubled in the past week. A green corridor in Australia's New South Wales state is proving to be a lifeline for koalas in the region. The corridor provides safe passage for their habitats and also saves them from human threats. Koalas have been predicted to get extinct in the South Wales states by 2050. This corridor is not only home to koalas but also hosts endangered glossy black cockatoos, gliders, possums, and wallabies. On to business and tech news. In a tumultuous reversal, Sam Altman is returning to OpenAI as its chief executive officer. ChatGPT maker OpenAI said it had reached an agreement in principle for Altman's return. The startup is also reforming its board. It'll eliminate several members who faced intense scrutiny for sacking Altman last week. US officials have announced a $4.3 billion settlement with Binance. This is to resolve a years-long probe into the world's largest crypto exchange. Meanwhile, the CEO of Binance, Changpeng Zhao, has agreed to step down. Zhao has also pleaded guilty to breaking U.S. anti-money laundering laws as part of the settlement. He'll also separately pay $50 million as a fine. Binance is being investigated by several U.S. authorities for illicit business practices. Two luxury homes belonging to the chairman of China's Evergrande Group, Hu Kaiyan, have been seized by a creditor. The properties, located in Hong Kong, are valued at more than $192 million. They'll be formally taken over by the creditor within days. Last year, Evergrande's main assets in Hong Kong, including its headquarters, were also seized by other creditors. This is after the company defaulted on public debts due to a cash crunch. American chipmaker Nvidia expects a steep drop in fourth quarter sales in China. This is because of the new semiconductor export controls imposed by the US. Despite this, the firm has lifted its outlook for quarterly revenue to $20 billion. Nvidia says the rise will be driven by easing supply chain issues. According to a report, Jeff Bezos is expected to offload more of his stake in Amazon. Bezos may sell as many as 8 million to 10 million shares. This is likely to amount to more than $1 billion. Last week, he sold Amazon shares worth about $240 million. After stepping down as Amazon CEO, Bezos has been liquidating his shares in the e-commerce behemoth. This is to fund his space venture, Blue Origin. A London court has ruled that Sony must face a mass lawsuit worth up to $7.9 billion. This is over claims that the PlayStation maker abused its dominant position, leading to unfair prices for customers. Last year, Sony was sued on behalf of nearly 9 million people in the UK. The company tried to overturn the lawsuit. However, the court has ruled that the case will continue. Fast food chain McDonald's has bought a further 28% stake in its China business. This was initially held by Carlyle Investment Group. The deal has increased McDonald's stake in its Chinese business to 48%. The move is in sharp contrast to other multinational corporations. Many have pulled back investments in China or even left the market altogether due to geopolitical and economic worries. Food delivery firm Deliveroo's British riders cannot be represented by a trade union for collective bargaining. This is according to a judgment by the UK Supreme Court. This is because the riders were not workers under the UK labour law. The court said that they did not have a quote-unquote employment relationship with the company. Under the law, riders of Deliveroo are designated as independent contractors and not workers. India is reportedly closing in on an agreement with US electric vehicle maker Tesla. This is to allow the automaker to ship its electronic cars to the country from next year. Under the agreement, Tesla will also set up a factory in India within 2 years. Reports add that a formal announcement is likely to come in January. Meanwhile, New York City Comptroller Brad Lander has reportedly called out Tesla's chief Elon Musk. He has asked Tesla's board of directors to sanction Musk. Lander has said that Musk should be sanctioned if he does not apologize for endorsing an anti-Semitic comment. Last week, Musk endorsed an anti-Semitic post on social media platform X. The post claimed that members of the Jewish community were stoking hatred against white people. Moving to sports, let's start with cricket. India will host Afghanistan for 3 T20 matches in January next year. The games will be played in the Indian city of Mohali, Indore and Bengaluru. The T20 series will begin on the 11th of January. The International Cricket Council, or ICC, has banned transgender players from participating in women's cricket at the international level. The ICC says the decision was made to protect the integrity of international women's cricket and to ensure the safety of players. The ban applies to transgender players who went through male puberty regardless of whether they underwent gender reassignment treatment. Moving to football, let's begin with updates from the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. Defending champions Argentina beat hosts Brazil 1-0 in a delayed and hot-headed match. Nicolas Otamendi scored the winner for Argentina in the 61st minute. Before kickoff, things got ugly in the stands after a massive brawl broke out between fans. Brazilian police were seen charging and hitting Argentine fans with batons. Argentine captain Lionel Messi walked off along with his team in protest to the police brutality. However, goalkeeper Emi Martinez refused to follow Messi into the locker room. Instead, he attempted to leap into the stands and punch a Brazil police official. Martinez managed to snatch away a baton from a police official during the altercation. Qatar beat hosts India 3-0 in yesterday's World Cup qualifier. Qatar took an early lead by scoring a goal just 4 minutes into the game. In the second half, Qatar came back with 2 more goals to seal the win. Despite the loss, India are still in contention to qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. African giants Ghana were handed a 1-0 shock defeat by Comoros last night. Striker Maiziane Maolita scored for Comoros in the 43rd minute. Ghana, who were considered group favourites, are now placed at number 4 out of 6. Moving to our football coverage of the Euro 2024, Croatia beat Armenia 1-0 in last night's match. Striker Ante Budimir scored for Croatia in the 43rd minute. With the win, Croatia have now qualified for the European tournament. Wales drew 1-1 with Turkey in last night's Euro 2024 qualifier. Nico Williams scored early for Wales in the 7th minute. In the second half, Turkey equalised on a penalty from Yusuf Yaziki. With the draw, Wales have missed out on another chance for qualifying for Euro 2024. They are 1 win away from making it to the big tournament with 3 spots remaining. Turkey have already qualified for Euro 2024. In badminton, India's HS Pranoy advanced to the second round at the China Masters. The tournament is being played in the Chinese city of Shenzhen. World number 8 Pranoy beat world number 12 Chao Tianchen 21-18, 22-20 in straight sets. The Indian shuttler will next be seen in action tomorrow. India's Pankaj Advani clinched the World Billiards Championship title last night. The tournament was played in Qatar's capital, Doha. Advani outplayed compatriot Saurav Kothari with a score of 1,000 to 416. With the win, Advani has now clinched a record 26th world title in billiards. In entertainment news, a Robbie Williams fan died after falling 6 rows of seats at his concert in Sydney. The woman, who was reportedly in her 70s. She sustained severe head injuries in the accident that happened at the concert last week. She succumbed to the injuries after slipping into a coma. Just 4 days ago, a fan at a Taylor Swift concert in Brazil died of a suspected cardiac arrest due to extreme heat. Legendary band The Rolling Stones have revealed details about their upcoming tour. They'll be touring through North America next year. Alongside the tour, a new album of the band will also be released. The tour will begin in April in the US and wrap up in California in July. Actors Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio will soon be seen in a Karate Kid film. The two actors have worked individually in separate karate films over decades ago. Macchio started the Karate Kid franchise in 1984, while Chan worked in its reboot in 2010. The film, whose title is yet to be announced, is slated for release on December 13th. Actor Nicholas Hoult has been roped in to play the role of Lex Luthor in the upcoming Superman Legacy film. According to reports, he's in talks to close the deal soon. Hoult had secured an Emmy nomination for his performance in the TV series The Great. The James Gunn directorial is eyeing a 2025 release. The trailer for the upcoming film Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is out now. The trailer gave a glimpse of the epic action-filled battle that will take place in the film between the two clans. The film also features Amber Heard, however she was not seen in the trailer. The film will release in theaters this year on December 22nd. The military enlistment process of the members of the South Korean band BTS has started. The band's agency announced today that 4 members of the group will soon start their service. The new joinees will be RM, Jimin, V and Jungkook. Meanwhile, the South Korean girl band Blackpink was recently honoured by the UK's King Charles III. The band was invited to the Buckingham Palace for the South Korea-UK State Banquet. They were acknowledged by King Charles for supporting the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. British anthology television series Black Mirror has been renewed for its 7th season. The new season will reportedly go into production later this year. This decision allegedly comes after season 6 brought record viewership this year. According to Netflix, the series remained on the top 10 spot in 92 countries for 4 weeks. Actor Melissa Barrera has been dropped from the film Scream 7. She was reportedly removed due to her series of social media posts on the Israel-Hamas war. Barrera called the war events genocide and ethnic cleansing in her posts. Scream 7 is slated to release by this year's end or next year. Actor Tom Cruise saved the job of his agent Maha Dakhil recently. Dakhil took to social media to post a series on the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. Owing to the controversial nature of the posts, the company she works for asked her to resign. But Cruise saved the day by vouching for her and she got to keep her job.